pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing as the council requests a moment of silence to pay respect for the 75th D-Day anniversary this Thursday. Thank you. Roll.
Ramkissoon.
Here.
Tobin.
Here.
Kleiner.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
John Francois.
Here.
Burr is absent. Green.
Here.
Massey.
Here.
President Rodriguez.
Here.
And we have a quorum.
Approval of minutes.
Tonight we have the council meeting minutes from April 16th, 2019.
So by Massey, seconded by Alderman Green. All in favor?
Aye.
For the good of the city, tonight we have the Orange County Planning Department presentation.
Yes. With us tonight is Bob Dietrich, who we all know. He's here on a regular basis. He's the director of the Orange County Health Department, Healthy Orange Community Outreach. And with him is Jessica Ridgway. She's from the Orange County Planning Department as a planner. And they're here to make a presentation regarding Complete Streets. And Complete Streets is a program that basically we've been following. It's dealing with, well, I'll let them address what they're going to talk about through their PowerPoint. So if they would please come up and address it.
Good evening. As Joe said, you know me, and Jessica's a planner from our planning department. She works closely with the health department. In the county, we have a Complete Streets working group, which consists of 3 members from the health department, 4 members from the planning department. So we're out there trying to get municipalities in the county to adopt Complete Streets policy, which may make the municipalities eligible for funding opportunities in the future, but it's much more than that. One of the things, I had a lot of examples here, but we have a short amount of time. I'm going to have Jessica go through the PowerPoint presentation. However, one of the things that I did want to say is when we think about Complete Streets and we think about walkability of the city, I was just looking today at my statistics for last week, and I walked 29.85 miles in the city of Middletown. As you all know, you see me walking around, and you stop to ask me if I want to ride. And I usually say no. So with the implementation of Complete Streets, I may be able to double that. You know, unfortunately, we can't do anything about shrinking some of the hills. So Jessica is going to provide you with the concrete information on formulating and implementing Complete Streets. That's up here.
I did have a packet for you guys. Should I just pass it?
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Sure. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Good evening. So Middletown's pretty unique. I've made this presentation at a lot of different conferences and municipal boards. But Middletown is already doing a lot of the Complete Streets components we're going to talk about. But basically, in a nutshell, Complete Streets are streets that are for everyone. So no matter what mode of transportation you choose to use, you have safe, convenient, affordable access to the roadway. So if you are pushing a stroller, if you are on a bus, if you're in a car by yourself or on a bicycle or walking along the sidewalk, you have the same access to the roadway as the next person. Some of the common elements used in Complete Streets are sidewalks, bike lanes, bus lanes, accessible pedestrian infrastructure, pedestrian scale infrastructure, lighting, and things like that. So again, Middletown is already doing a lot of these things. Just to go through some of the benefits of Complete Streets, there's no one sort of complete street no cookie cutter formula. It really depends on the land use context. It depends on where the street is. If it's an arterial, obviously pedestrian infrastructure doesn't make sense. But if it's a downtown area where you're trying to promote walkability and bikeability, it makes a lot more sense. So we did include some Middletown specific statistics. But incomplete streets in general are dangerous for people who are living with a disability, especially low-income communities who might not have access to a vehicle. And they provide barriers to things that we need every day, like groceries, education, healthcare, etc. 9.6% of Middletown residents live with a disability, and this is one of my favorite graphics about equity. We've all seen the one with the fence where different people are standing on different height boxes, but I like this one for bikes because it's related to transportation, and I'm a planner. But it also is a great example that just implementing these things everywhere doesn't always make sense. The reason that we work so closely with Bob's Public Health Department is because non-motorized transportation or promoting walkability and bikeability is so closely tied with improved health outcomes or public health outcomes. Just in general, the CDC recommends 150 minutes per week of physical activity. And you'll see in the statistics on the bottom there that when people have safe places to walk, 43% of people will meet these recommendations. But without safe places to walk, that number drops down to below 30%. Included in your packet are some crash statistics for the city of Middletown. They're heat maps, but they show the concentration of pedestrian and bicycle crash information as well as the vehicle crash information. But another great graphic that we like to use when we talk about complete streets to show how slowing traffic speeds really improves outcomes for pedestrian accidents. So you'll see on the bottom there that at 20 miles per hour, 9 out of 10 pedestrians survive, but with doubling that at only 40, only 1 out of 10 pedestrians survive. My favorite statistics, I think, especially for downtowns, is that complete streets or increasing walkability, bikeability, and access to downtowns really drives economies forward. And I think that's a great fit for here in downtown Middletown. So we're here today to recommend that the city adopt a complete streets policy. Smart Growth America, which is really the best agency out there for complete streets recommendations and design guidance, they put out each year a best complete streets policies guide, and in 2017 they put out a best implementation guide, and you'll see at the top there, I included this page in the packet as well, but the first step is to adopt a complete streets policy. We have one, again, like Bob mentioned, at the county level. And this really just formalizes the community's intent to design and maintain streets that promote all modes of transportation. The working group that Bob and I sit on at the county level, we have put together a model complete streets policy that municipalities can adopt. And the components there on the left are what we've included in that policy, but it's based on guidance from Smart Growth America. Funding is always a question that we have, and I know Bob mentioned that this will increase opportunities for funding. A lot of different grants and other nonprofit funding sources ask for complete streets policies, just as a way to show that communities are dedicated to doing this type of work. And again, it's not once you sign this policy, all your streets have to change. This is just guidance for future development, to start building out a network that's walkable and bikeable. And also, it's a way for the planning board to ask that developers coming in recognize that the city has this policy. One case study from Hamburg, New York. I wanted to show the graphic on the left is the right-of-way breakdown. So it's a little hard to see here, but it has the footage for each lane and the amount of sidewalk. And I just wanted to note that there was no change in the width of the street. So all of the work that they did in the after photo was done with just paint. This is just restriping, and they saw all of the results that are listed down on the bottom left. Accidents decreased significantly, property sales increased as well, and there was a significant increase in building permits as well. Part of our implementation at the county level for our Complete Streets policy is helping municipalities adopt complete streets as well as technical assistance. So we do have, and the county website's listed at the bottom there, but we do have a lot of resources online, and are available for mapping needs or data collection. I know that you guys have done a lot of this already as part of the DRI process, but we are available as well. That's all.
Alderman Johnson?
Two questions. First, I happen to be visiting my adult children who live in the Cambridge, Massachusetts area. They have a lot of bike lanes there. And my son-in-law was pointing out that some of the streets have a bike lane and a lane to allow parked cars to open their doors. There's a problem with that, and my son-in-law happened to witness a girl who was going along at a pretty good clip. This woman parked. She's not looking in her side view mirror, and she opens the door. And this woman the biker was pretty seriously injured because she did not expect that. Does that ever manifest itself in complete streets planning?
There, in the policy, the recommended policy, we do have a section for implementation and design guidance. There are design guides from NACDO and other national agencies that give recommendations for bike infrastructure specifically, as well as pedestrian infrastructure. A lot of them do recommend a buffer zone for doors. But unfortunately, that's not, there's not always room to add that. So I have heard an important component of Complete Streets is education. So I have heard of the concept of Dutch opening, so it's more education on the driver's part. Right. So because you're encroaching on the bike lane by opening your door, but you're supposed to open it with your right hand, the driver's side door. So it forces you to turn and look towards the back.
And my second question, probably easier, if I had a public hearing for this, who would speak against it?
Hopefully no one.
Yeah.
Well, I can't imagine, but I imagine somebody would find some reason not to like this idea, but I can't imagine what it would
Right.
be.
The other thing, as you were saying with the bike lanes, I mean, there are many different designs for bike lanes. You could also have, as in some areas in New York City, I think it's on 8th Avenue, they have, in Manhattan, they have the lane inside.
On the other side?
Parked.
Right.
Okay, and so it's not just dedicated, it's like a cycle lane that goes through.
You also have protected bike lanes, too.
Right.
Which we're looking at as we are trying to get off the street, like with the post office. When we make that connection with SUNY Orange, we're going to try to go onto the post office and use as little street as possible. And if we have the width, then we can do a protected bike lane.
Right.
Right.
And the other alternative, as you said, is if you don't have a bike lane at all, then
Right.
you're in,
The
it's
door
more
issue- the
dangerous.
door issue was
People don't
big.
even realize that they're parked by a bike lane.
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
Thanks.
Anyone else? Alderman Tobin?
Yeah, I'd love to have the bike lanes, especially now that we have the rail trail coming in. But is there a minimum width? I tried to look around. I'm like, where can we put these? Our roads a lot of them are really narrow. I mean, because you need to have a bike lane in both directions, correct? Like coming, going, or does it make sense to have it on one side of the street?
It's up to your design. I mean, you could have going one way in one set of streets and then going another way in another set.
And is there like a minimum width, like you shouldn't consider a bike lane if your streets are this like small, or?
I don't think so. I mean, like, I'm just thinking, coming down West Main Street, you only have parking, I believe, on one side of the street. So you would have room there for a bike lane.
My other question was human behavior. I've looked at the accidents places. I mean, North Street, a lot of people don't use the crosswalk. I don't even like driving down it in the middle of the day because people shoot out between the cars to cross the street. And is there ways to encourage them to, like you said, education, to use the crosswalk as opposed to, jogging across the street? And then the other one was Wisner. It's a busy intersection. We have the kids are crossing, and then I take it every day, down the street they're crossing 211. Is there a way to kind of, and then you got trucks coming in. I mean, there's a way to kind of make people focus, or just make it safer to cross that street. I don't know. I know they have the crossing guards, but there's a lot going on at a busy intersection. I don't know.
I drove through that today when the crossing guards
Right,
were
you're looking
there.
here, you're looking
Even the
there.
crossing guards seemed to be bolting back and forth. I think it's definitely context sensitive, so it depends on the land use on both sides, and it depends on the width of the right of way. If there's an opportunity, if there is parallel parking, usually you can remove one space and allow for a bump out. In the situation you're talking about where people seem to be darting out between parked cars, that helps bring the pedestrian closer to the field of vision for the driver so they can see them before they plan to cross. It's often more comfortable for the pedestrian as well because you can see easier. You're further out into the roadway but still protected by the curbed bump out. You can do that for mid-block crossings, but also at signalized intersections.
It depends on how you move along. The policy is first, and then how much you implement to make this go along. I mean, some cities have like bike boxes at major intersections. So there are specific lanes that the bikes go on, and you cross the street, and then you come across and continue up the next street. So you're not like cutting across diagonally or something like that. And also with the crosswalks, I think we've already done some of the stuff in Middletown where you have pedestrian activated, crossing lights. I know that was one of the things that Jacobs was really looking at. So that's always helpful also.
All our signalized intersections will have that.
Yeah.
Pedestrian, ADA compliant,
Right.
part of this project that we're doing. That's why we're looking at the complete.
The timed ones.
What's that?
The timed,
ones,
yeah.
yes.
All agree?
Yeah, just briefly kind of touches on what Dr. Johnson said as who would say no against this. As part of what you see that we're really missing is that, knowing what we're doing, is it really this formal policy, basically declaration? Is that sort of I understand obviously that would be our first step technically into being in the Complete the Streets program, but knowing how much we're doing, would you say that there's, we're 70% of the way as a city, would you put any kind of percentage, kind of knowing what we're doing and what you expect to see out of a Complete Streets city, what would you consider us to be along the way as, if you can throw out a number?
You want to take a stab at that?
I think that in the
You walk over a marathon a week, so.
Yeah.
in the planning that you're doing downtown,
Right.
the DRI and everything, I think you have it being done down here.
Yeah, thank you.
And that's a step. And then as you move along, the implementation starts. It's usually the policy and then the implementation. And it depends on how involved you want to be.
Sure, and we're doing it in the traffic plan that's being implemented throughout the city, not just in the downtown, but every signalized intersection will be designed with a Complete Streets program in mind. Whether it's ADA accessible, I think most, if not all, are going to have pedestrian crossing buttons that are accessible for the handicap. What you see in larger cities. There are talks about islands and getting pedestrians across, say, Dawson Avenue, putting in sidewalks on Dawson Avenue to make it more walkable. So those things are in the works. The intelligent traffic systems where they talk to each other, so that you can have the flow of traffic where people aren't rushing to beat the lights. These are all things that are part of the redesign. That program went from $7.5 million to $17 million. We have gone to the county the Transportation Council for additional funding. It's a multi-year program, but it's being combined with the DRI money and the $3.6 million from Senator Schumer with the leftover HUD money, so that sidewalks, intersections, everything is being redesigned. We had Mark Fenton, I think his name was. I think you guys were all there for that. He's a biker, famous biker guy, not a motorcycle guy.
Not those bikers.
Yeah, just he's given us an analysis. He was here. So we're trying, for example, his recommendation was that the Orange County Trust intersection is not very friendly for people walking because it's so long. Like if Joe Massey was walking across, what would I do at the traffic light if I was there, right? Because it's a long run. But some of the things we can't implement because they may be good for biking, but they're not good for the movement of traffic. For example, when our engineers looked at it and said, you get tractor trailer deliveries down here, they're making that turn, so you need a wider intersection there. So we look at things from a complete streets perspective. We can't always implement them, but passage of this will also help us on additional grants as we move forward. And we are going to make all those connections at Heritage Trail. We have plans to do Oliver and Monhagen, a controlled intersection to get onto the Site Center grounds, then to get over onto the reservoir grounds. We're already talking to the post office about a right-of-way over their lawn to get us up South Street, which is a wide street, to the college, and up Canal, which is a wide street. Possibility of protected bike lanes. Syracuse has right around Syracuse University has a lot of success in doing the protected bike lanes. So, and the fact that even in areas where you only paint has a habit of slowing people down, making people aware. And of course, there's some responsibility on the biker also, with your point. But nothing's foolproof. Even a protected bike lane is not foolproof. But these are all incremental steps that lead to more feet on the street. And that's our goal in downtown, make people feel safe, make them, walkable, bikeable, and all those good things.
The other gem, as Joe said, that you have that goes along with complete streets is the Heritage Trail.
Coming right through the,
You're going to be able to get it from almost every neighborhood.
Exactly.
And travel the length of the city.
and we want to follow, our plan is to try to connect the schools with the trail and have spurs off of, for Toro, it's not a big run. Straight down the hill for SUNY Orange, not a big run. Fayetien, it's going to be right there on the community campus. We're looking how to cross over 78. So all these discussions are in mind, but this program here might be a resource for funding as we move forward. Not the specific program, but adopting the program can be helpful as we move forward.
Anyone else? Thank you for the presentation. Anyone else who would like to address the council, please step forward. You have 4 minutes.
Mr. President, I will stick to my 4-minute limit.
Appreciate it.
Good evening, council. My name is Dave Madden, and I am a member of the organizing committee of the Run for Downtown. It's on your agenda tonight to close the streets on August 17th, the morning of, for the 14th annual running of the Run for Downtown. Our proceeds are being pooled with last year's and will hopefully go to help you all build a pavilion in the Erie Way Park that will future home of the Middletown Farmers Market. I'm inviting all of you and the public to please come out August 17th. It's a great, great community event. It's a 4-mile run or walk. I've seen many of you out there running and walking in the past. Yes, yes, yes. And if you're not up for a 4-mile run or walk, you got to come downtown. You got to see what this is all about. We have live music. We have a lot of food. We have, beverages. It keeps everybody happy. It's a great community event. Again, it's August 17th. It's Saturday morning, third Saturday of August every year. And we invite you all out here. And I thank you, council, for, considering closing the streets for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, remarks to department heads, economic development.
Good evening, everyone. Dave was a little remiss in mentioning this Thursday night is our Thursday night concert at the Run for Downtown Park, and the major sponsor of the race, Marshall Sterling Insurance, is going to be presenting a check to the organization. It'll be there with the mayor, and all of you also are invited Wednesday night. It looks like we're going to do between 5:45 and 6 p.m. right before the concert. Also, on the Thursday. Did I say Thursday?
You said Wednesday.
This Thursday, I'm sorry. Joe Massey was getting, I don't know.
Dave's not the only one.
Oh,
No. On to the farmer's market, started last weekend, good turnout, so every Saturday morning from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Join us on Railroad Avenue for the farmer's market. Also, the Bid District initiated their flower program. You can see the nice flowers that have popped up on the poles and throughout the downtown. And of course, all the concerts have begun. On the DRI front, 6 more facades are out to bid. The bids are going to be open next Thursday, June 13th. Also, Rail Trail Woolworths building, the tenants have gotten their building permits. They're starting their build-outs. We had conversations today about their signage and all that good stuff, so everybody's excited, and it's moving forward. This Thursday, a lot of Thursdays here, Toro's graduation at the Paramount Theater, so their next class is graduating. And also, tonight we had a meeting of the CDA. We discussed 2 houses that will be getting new homeowners, and another project is underway. Economic development, Caitlin is working hard on 2 CFA, consolidated funding applications. They're due in July. So that's about it that I have for tonight. Wrap up.
any questions for Maria? Thank you, Maria.
Thank you.
Fire chief.
Evening, everybody. Massey, I guess the mayor got back at you for what you said to him up there, so. That he didn't hear. You you can smile, Massey, once in a while. Call volume wise was kind of slow, so I guess fire prevention is working. We have 57 calls. A busy month for the community, a lot of community events. We put fire prevention and recruitment in there, the Touch a Truck, the YMCA, the Midi Pride, the Memorial Day Parade. We'll be involved with the Ruthie Dino Run, the Run for Downtown. We always have the engine on the corner there wetting the runners down. We have a resolution in front of you tonight for the career side of the department to bring the rules and regs up to date that were last time done in 1987. So look forward for your support, and that's it.
Any questions for the chief? Alderman Kleiner?
Hi, Chief. The rules and regulations are extensive. Tried to read most of them and understand them. They seem pretty straightforward. Is there anything we should know, anything controversial?
Well, they did go to Alex first, our corporation counsel. He reviewed them. He recommended they go to the mayor to recommend a resolution. Probably like the biggest changes is like they don't have to bring the coal up out of the basement. They don't have to put the harnesses on the horses, and kind of out-of-dated things are taken out and brought up to the 21st century.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Chief, there's a memorial for Chief.
Oh, yes, June 13th. The New York State Fire Chiefs Association is having a memorial service for fallen past chiefs, deceased chiefs, and they're going to be recognizing past Chief Vic Lamascolo and past Chief Dan Snyder on the 13th up in Syracuse. So there's about 6 of us or so going up for the memorial service.
Anyone else? Thank you. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Chief. City Treasurer.
Just one thing I'd like to let everybody know is that the financial audit was scheduled to finish in May. The auditors would leave, and they got about out in middle May, so we're on track. We expect the statements in another 30 days or so. So far, there's no problems, and if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Any questions for Don? Thank you, Don. Police Chief?
Good evening. Just wanted to thank the community for their support for the Classic 10K race. I know it was inconveniencing to several people. We do our best to open up the streets as quickly as we can and to accommodate as many residents as we can. But apologize to those that were inconvenienced, but thank the residents that did support us. With that said, this coming Sunday, we'll have another road race. It would be the Ruthie Dino, Sunday, June 9th. This impacts mainly the 2nd Ward. Again, please check the city's website, the police department's website. We'll be putting out information as to the routes and street closures. In regards to that, in an effort to put this out to as many people as we can for the closing of the streets for the Classic 10K, we utilized a feature in the Nixle program that we had not used before, and it did not go as well as we anticipated. So I'd like to apologize to the residents that were inconvenienced about that as well. The calls went out to 18,000 and some people, and it didn't put all the information out on the first round, so it caused quite a bit of alarm and annoyance and overwhelmed our call center for several hours. So we are working through that, and again, we apologize for any inconvenience that may have caused. On a more positive note, this past Friday, we were invited by the Little League to participate in a barbecue for the All-Star game. We served hundreds of hot dogs and juice boxes, and several of my officers had the joy of playing baseball with several of the Little League All-Star players. It was a great success. It was a great turnout. We had a beautiful night. Other than that, any questions?
Any questions for the Police Chief? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Superintendent of Recreation?
Good evening. You hear Maria talk and the chief talk, and then I'll be adding some. There is always something going on in the city of Middletown, and usually multiple things at a time. Friday night, you could have been at Watts Park, the Paramount, the high school, hosting all the events, the festival square. So it's a great, if people say there's nothing to do in this town, they have to give us a call and we'll let them know what's going on. On a business side, this is kind of for the public. We are still in need of lifeguards. So people that are interested in a lifeguard position, or if you're interested in becoming a lifeguard, call the recreation department. We can set up training for people to become guards if they have the skills to do so. And we open up on July 1st. People are calling about the pools. July 1st, we always open the Monday following high school graduation. June 15th, we have a lot of things going on in town as well. The Fishing Derby, the Lions Club Fishing Derby, will be over at Fancher Davidge Park. As soon as kids and families leave the Fishing Derby, you can go straight over to Thrall Park, where there's the kids celebration that's run by the Middletown Police Department and the Too Good for Drugs program as it closes out the school year. And that's quite a celebration I know that Officer Beebe puts a lot of time into. As you ride around the city, our playground equipment is all in. The mulch has gone around. You'll see new playground equipment in Bennett Hill, Jerome Neal Park on Linden Avenue, Sproat Street Park, and new swings in Beatty. The swing set in Beatty was probably 35, 40 years old. The swings, now that the mulch is down, we'll get the swings hung up. And the only other thing we have to finish up is the Maple Hill project. Once that contractor's out of there, that pond has been dredged. It's now a good 6-7 feet deep. We have this week or the beginning of next week, the fountain will go back in. June 29th, I'm getting a delivery of fish. We'll restock that because the fish that were there, we did have to move into the Manhagan Brook and follow the DEC rules. But that park should be up and running hopefully very shortly. We get calls on that every day. And at that point, that is all I have unless you have any questions. And actually, one more public service announcement for the public. If you're enrolled in our camps, the health department has, with the measles this year, we must have the child's immunization records on file. They must come into the recreation department before your child can attend camp. If they come to camp without it, we have to turn them away. And it also goes for our staff. We're actually having adults have to find their immunizations to get measles. So it's adding, and we have to send lists, so it's adding a whole new workload to us, and we appreciate the public's cooperation in following the health department's order. And if you have any questions about that, please call the recreation department.
Any question for Chris? Thank you, Chris. City Clerk.
Just the road closures for the Ruthie Run and for Run for Downtown will be on the city website, and it's on the road closures on the homepage, and the maps are there. I uploaded all of them to say where exactly the race goes around town and with the streets. And that can be checked anytime. I usually do it months before and months after. And if you do sign up for that, you do get an automatic email every time I add something to that particular thing. So you can do that on our website. So you'll get an email saying when the race is and the street map itself. That's all I have for this evening.
Any question for John? Thank you, John. Mayor?
Thank you. And we had a committee meeting this evening with Mr. Chairman Jude Jean-Francois. And I just want to once again reinforce to the public that we are looking at the sanitation program of eventually, hopefully, moving to the automated arm. The chairman agreed that we need to have a public hearing. I think you're going to talk about it yourself under the sometime in July to begin the public hearing process, which will have an information sheet. We can also do the what's it called, that polling that we do, Maria? Survey Monkey, yeah. When we formulate some questions, you get some public input on it. And there's going to be a lot of questions, and I'm sure the public will be very well informed, and we would appreciate your feedback on this. It's a big move for us, both financially and from the cleanliness point and from a worker safety point. So Mr. Jude will be scheduling the public hearings, and we'll be providing some fact sheets for the council and for the public. If you haven't had the opportunity to ride by Woolworths, please do so. The board is down in the front and the back, and there's a chain link fence temporarily up, but you get a good view now of the work that's being done. All three tenants have received their building permits and are working on it, and it really is a beautiful looking project. And across the street, we have the facade program, as Maria said, is moving forward. And the DRI program has really been very helpful to our downtown and to our city. In conjunction with that, we will be doing a consolidated funding application. There's a resolution on the floor tonight. We had a meeting with the consultants and myself, Maria, and Caitlin, and we believe that it is a viable application. So we will be submitting a CFA application, and along with the application submission is some engineering that needs to be done along with the submission. So there is a transfer of $10,000 to do the consulting work that is required as part of the application, and that's on the schedule tonight. I know Jerry's going to ask us, so I'm going to give you the update. Heritage Trail. All right. Mr. Brooks, I spoke with him this morning. They are paving now 6.5 Station to Hartley. They will begin the major part of the trail for us on early August. I believe it's August 2nd. September 3rd, June 13th, we are having a meeting with the county for segment 3, which is East Main Street through the city and out the other side. So the project is moving forward. You have a resolution, or 2 resolutions tonight, dealing with the culvert project. This is allowing us to put the money up front in order to do the culvert. That's part of the trail, that's part of our work on the trail, and we will then be reimbursed up to $500,000 for that project. And I believe that's all I have, unless you have any questions.
Alderman Tolman?
The parking garage, is that the parking deck or the, across from the Paramount? Is it?
No, the one we're looking at is that's the one that was rejected last year.
Right.
So we attended a Department of Transportation forum down in Terrytown, in which we presented a concept that, and it appeared to get a positive feedback from the Department of State, and that is the Canal Street project, where we're removing the corner building to straighten out the intersection, and then we have parking on each side, and we have a pretty wide lot. We feel, and the engineer feels, it's a viable spot to have the Canal Street go through, some commercial on the first floor, upper floor parking. And it makes it attractive as we're doing the pro formas now, the financial pro formas. The decisions that we're going to have to move forward with is how much is the city willing to, on an annual basis, potentially subsidize the parking structure. Because there will be, if we don't meet our revenue goals, of course, the city is responsible for the debt. Just like if you're constructing a parking lot and charging for it. We feel the reasons that we were rejected last time are no longer there. The state liked the concept of not locating the garage directly across from the theater, forcing people to, well, having some theater area parking for early people, but the majority of the parking would be in other parts of downtown where people would literally have to walk, a few hundred feet, but they're also walking in your commercial sector. The Department of State people that were at the meeting, the engineers that were at the meeting, liked the concept, so we decided to go with that concept since the other one was already rejected once. So that's what we're moving forward with.
Alderman Johnson?
Two questions, Mayor. You referred to County Road 78 and traversing that. How would we interact with the county, who might happen to be in the room this evening, to get across 78? Will we have to...
At the
traffic light there, what would you anticipate doing?
Well, I guess there's a few possibilities. One, we own right now up to, City of Middletown goes right up to County Route 78. One is the intersection of Egberton, where may make a logical stop for a light. It's a straightforward road. The other is further down, where we're trying to acquire some additional property. It would take a lot more signage, and it's a little bit on a bend. But we would hire some experts to make a recommendation, and if need be, petition the county for a traffic signal there. But County Route 78 is, as we all know, it's the most highly developed part of the city, the most dense part. It's getting more and more action, more and more traffic on it, and they need to have more traffic control, especially around the school area, regardless of what we do. So I anticipate that we'll be making a recommendation through the traffic committees of the county to put a light up there at some point. Egberton, though, is a private road at this point, coming into the campus grounds.
Both sides?
Now, I think on the other side, I think it's public, but on the campus side, it's a private road.
And my other question, could you comment on your thoughts on the status of the O&W building?
Yeah, most of us, most people who respond on that want it to be saved in some form. And we do get a lot of inquiries, probably more so than any property in the city and a lot of social media inquiries on why we're not doing something with it.
Right.
Well, the doing something is a lot of money. It's, millions and millions and millions of dollars. And we spoke before about having a grant for the Orange County, or the Middletown Community Health Center. They were not able to do the project. It grew from $8 to $10 million project for them to an $18 million project. We have had since then quite a few inquiries from people. We have one which I consider better than others, is that we're going to have them give them access to it. They've viewed the outside of the building, not the inside. It's for a different type of use, not a housing use. It will be a commercial use, but once people get into it, they normally become afraid, especially restoring to historic standards. What we have thrown out at people now is any attempt to save as much of the building, especially the facade onto Wickham as possible. And this is something they do up in Albany, saving building the facades of the buildings and then rebuilding behind it. And if we were able to pursue jointly. The problem with that is there's no state historic preservation money attached to those types of things that we've been able to find. Maybe they can attach it. So we're not giving up only because the public doesn't want us to give up. But eventually, the building is fenced off, and eventually, we're going to have to make a decision. We're doing a $1.1 million rubbish removal now for a building that we owned up on the Psych Center grounds. And so these buildings become expensive to remove. But it would be a shame, but we're going to keep going until we exhaust all our efforts.
Thank you. I think many of us probably don't even see it anymore because we go by it so often, but it's conspicuous. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's you can see what it once was and what we would want it to be. The question is whether we have that kind of money to get there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Alderman Kleiner?
Thank you. Mayor, I did have one question that someone had asked about whether we're going to have an update on the Reservoir Trail proposal. Is there going to be a presentation?
Yes, June 17th, 2 weeks from today.
Okay.
Correct, ma'am? Yes. Yeah, Carter Strickland and his company will be here. I think, did we forward the draft report to you guys?
I didn't see it.
I didn't see it.
Well, we didn't get the final draft. We'll have it in plenty of time for you to review, and then it'll be available for the public that night. He'll be making a presentation, and phase one, as you know, we're looking for additional funding for phase two and phase three through the CFA. That's another one of our applications, but phase one will not be hard to implement. But the public will get a thorough presentation on the 17th. Or 2 weeks, was it the 17th?
2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, today's the 4th, or is it?
11th.
8th, Tuesday, whatever that Tuesday is.
Would be 18.
18th, yeah.
And I also think that 12 Rock development that's going up behind the schools might influence where the trail goes and, that.
Well, if that happens, you're definitely going to have to see a light up there somewhere, because I think their entrance is off Egberton.
Egberton, yes.
And I don't know if Wallkill Planning has figured that out, what they're going to do, but that was a Wallkill Planning Board issue.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the status is. I know Paul's been involved in that a little bit, and he could probably give you an update on that. But we certainly would recognize from what I understand, the volume of people that will be going to that clearly will require some kind of controlled intersection there.
So,
The eventual entrance will be off Mount Hope Road. Egberton will be a service emergency access to.
So no public access off Egberton?
In the long-range plan, no.
Oh, okay, good.
okay.
Anyone else? Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Remarks of Alderman Massey.
I'd like to start out with, I see Pastor Williams is in the audience there. Congratulations on your reelection to the school board. I also see Bob Dietrich's in the audience. And Bob, I want to thank you for the invitation from the Orange County Health Summit, a collaborative approach to community health planning. I was up there today at Orange County Community College, my alma mater, and the program was an extensive program, a lot of great information. I have it here if anyone has any questions whatsoever at any time, just let me know. And again, Bob, thank you very much.
Alderman Tobin?
I'd just like to just kind of reiterate or just plug the fishing derby this June 15th. It's 8:30 at Fancher Davidge Park. All ages. It starts age groups from 5 to 7 up to 13 to 15. It's really a lot of fun. No fishing experience needed. It's a great family activity, young and old. I mean, the smiles on the kids' faces when they pull those fish out of the pond is awesome. And they get like a hot dog and a soda. So I mean, it's a great time for everybody to get outdoors and breathe some fresh air and go fishing. And I believe in a couple of weeks there's a police one right up in town of Wallkill.
There is. It's the same day actually.
No, it's another one I think, right?
The 15th, I believe, at Circleville Park.
Oh, okay. So if you can't make that, you can make the police one too. Thank you.
Alderman Green?
Yeah, thank you very much. First off, I want to thank Chief Iwanchu and your staff for the town hall. It was a rainy night, so it was very nice that we were able to televise it. And, we did have a lot of people comment on how it was nice that they were able to watch it from home on that very, very rainy evening. What was not such a rainy day was last Saturday with the Junior Classic and the Farmers Market. I did stop by the Junior Classic in the morning, and it was amazing to see so many kids out there, really enjoying the fresh air, and really makes you feel good about, knowing that we're opening up all these trails and the Heritage Trail and new parks. So it's good to get out there and move. The Rod Dixon Kids Marathon ended their final mile, so these kids over an amount of weeks, they ran a full marathon, and I think that was absolutely amazing. I saw they were given stickers that said 26.2, like you see on cars of marathon runners. So really, really encouraging to see the parents and kids out there that day. Thank you again to the police department for the Classic 10K for the road closures and reopenings. Everything went very smooth. Talking about smooth roads, road paving is going on, and many of the roads in the second ward that were paved before the Classic 10K came out beautifully. So really thank you to DPW and everyone involved in that. Of course, the Ruthie Run is this weekend, so again, there will be more closures. June 10th at 7 p.m., so that's next Monday, in this room right here, the council room, will be our second ward constituents meeting. I understand we'll have special guests, the mayor and police chief this time, so please bring your questions, and we'll all have open ears and listen to your ideas. Just a quick note I did miss at the farmer's market. I would be remiss to say that I did see Oak and Reed, one of our Woolworths businesses, was there, and if what they had there was just a taste of what we're to expect, the lines are going to be down the entire trail to get in the door. So very exciting. Glad to see them there supporting not only the community by their storefront opening, but also during our farmers market to sort of give everyone a taste of what's to come. Thank you.
Alderman Johnson,
Nothing this evening, thank you.
Alderman Consoom.
Good evening. I really don't have much this evening. I just wanted to congratulate the students at the Presidential Park Elementary who recently had their Too Good for Drugs, Too Good for Alcohol graduation this week. It's a great program that Officer Beebe has been running for the last few years, and she really connects with the kids on a good level. I know it was a great day for all of the fifth graders who are moving on to middle school next year, and hopefully with better tools to address what faces them. But a good program, a nice collaboration between city and school. As always, when they work together, great things happen. That's really all I have tonight. I hope everyone have a great evening.
Alderman Kleiner.
Thank you. We haven't met since Memorial Day ceremony, and wanted to thank the American Legion, both Middletown and Town of Walk Hill, and Police Department, Fire Department, everyone who makes that possible, and Speaker Alderman Joe Massey did an excellent job. So, and it was just a beautiful day. So I thank everyone involved in that. I think it's always an important time. And again, I thank Council President Rodriguez for a moment of silence. June 6th is the 75th anniversary of D-Day, and they still do not have a good idea on how many people died that day, but the toll was very high, not as high as they feared because we just had very brilliant planners, and it was an amazing operation, but it just was so important. On that line, June 14th is Flag Day, and it's just remembering that, that was the Second Continental Congress in 1777 adopted our flag on June 14th, and we salute it every time we come here and start our meeting, and it's something to keep in mind, and people, of course, the Legion and others will be disposing of flags in the proper way if you have some that are old and you need to get rid of. The Classic 10K, it takes so many people to put that on to make it work. The police department's amazing, but you have the fire police, you had Town of Wallkill Fire Department, you have all the sponsors, you have Parks and Rec, you have DPW going around doing the cleanup, all the volunteers, and the public that comes out to watch the race. And of course, after the race at the high school grounds, you have Chief Winter out recruiting for the fire department. I thank him for that, always on the job. It's very important. So thank Frank Giannino and of course Frank Shorter, who's always very gracious and comes back and gives everyone as much time as they want. So it's just a great community event. I hope it continues. Our constituents meeting, I will say that it's important. Last time we had issues raised at the meeting, they brought issues to Commissioner Teweel, and he and the mayor went down and looked at Watkins Avenue along Watts Park, and what a mess it was, and they did a gorgeous job, and they decided, yes, that needed to be added to the list. So I thank our constituents for bringing that up, and I just think it was really well worth it. Citywide Watch will be, I believe, on next Tuesday, June 17th at 7 p.m. Another way to get involved, come bring us your ideas. And
Next Tuesday.
And finally, because the commissioner's not here, I'll remind people that Saturday, June 15th, it's a busy day. The Fishing Derby is also sponsored by the Lions Club, by the way. You get that plug in. Saturday, June 15th is also our electronics drop-off day, so this is my last chance to remind people, if you have TVs, please don't leave them out on the curb. It's Saturday, June 15th, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. at DPW Recycling Center on Manhagan Avenue, so do it the right way. Thank you.
Alderman John Francois.
Thank you. I'd like to congratulate Pastor William on your re-election. Congratulations. And also, like the mayor mentioned this evening, DPW Public Works Committee met this evening. Our goal is really to keep the city of Middletown cleaner than it already is, and we try to get the public to recycle a lot more than we should. But by providing recycle bins and the garbage pail, I think that's going to help the city of Middletown. As far as the automated truck, everybody's doing it. Wallkill is doing it. Monroe's doing it. Chester's doing it. It's glad to see Middletown's going to jump on board and do the same thing. So it's a great thing to see that the project is coming to fruition. Thank you.
New business.
Resolution sponsored by Alderman Johnson to approve amendment number 1 for engineering services for the 31 to 34 Bowles Avenue Middletown Community Campus Project from Barton and Luis.
Resolution sponsored by Alderman Johnson, second by Alderman Massey. Any discussion? Roll.
Graham Cassoon?
Aye.
Tobin?
Aye.
Kleiner?
Aye.
Johnson?
Aye.
John Francois?
Aye.
Green?
Aye.
Massey?
Aye.
President Rodriguez?
Aye.
Resolution passes. Resolution sponsored by Alderman Johnson to authorize a change order and authorize the mayor to sign the contract with Barton and Luis for the removal of rubble pile at 31 to 34 Bowles Avenue to include WBE Trucking Company to cart the rubble for the disposal to comply with Restore New York grant requirements.
Resolution sponsored by Alderman Johnson, second by Alderman Tobin. Any discussion? Roll.
Ram Kasoon?
Aye.
Tobin?
Aye.
Kleiner?
Aye.
Johnson?
Aye.
John Francois?
Aye.
Green?
Aye.
Massey?
Aye.
President Rodriguez?
Aye.
Resolution passes. Resolution sponsored by Alderman Johnson to amend the city code to prohibit the placement of materials in and upon streets, sidewalks, and yards in connection with eviction proceedings.
Resolution sponsored by Alderman Johnson, seconded by Alderman Green. Any discussion? Alderman Johnson.
I just wanted to clarify, this came through legislative committee, and any of the landlords who anticipate evictions, I think they need to read the law closely and realize that they have prerogatives. They can appear before the judge beforehand, and they can clarify their options. It's not going to be the day of and where you're going to store the stuff. It's been a point of concern, but if you stay calm and read the law, I think you'll be happy with it. Thank you.
Anyone else? Roll.
Reb Kasoon?
Aye.
Tobin?
Aye.
Kleiner?
Aye.
Johnson?
Aye.
John Francois?
Aye.
Green?
Aye.
Massey?
Aye.
President Rodriguez?
Aye.
Resolution passes. Resolution sponsored by Alderman John Francois to close any and all streets and intersections necessary at their discretion for the Run for Downtown Saturday, August 17th, beginning at 8 a.m., and to close North Street from Franklin Square to Orchard Street on Friday, August 16th, 2019, for the pre-race activities from 4:30 to 9:30 p.m.
Resolution sponsored by Alderman John Francois, second by Alderman Kleiner. Any discussion? Roll.
Ram Kasoon.
Aye.
Tobin.
Aye.
Kleiner.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
John Francois.
Aye.
Green.
Aye.
Massey.
Aye.
President Rodriguez.
Aye.
Resolution passes. Resolution sponsored by Alderman Tobin to approve the grant application and authorize the mayor to sign as the sole signatory in any and all necessary documents requiring pertaining to the consolidated funding application for parks, preservation, and heritage grants and the recreational trails program.
Resolution sponsored by Alderman Tobin, second by Alderman John Francois. Any discussion? Roll.
Ram Kasoon.
Aye.
Tobin.
Aye.
Kleiner.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
John Francois.
Aye.
Green.
Aye.
Massey.
Aye.
President Rodriguez.
Aye.
Resolution passes. Resolution sponsored by Alderman Green to approve the grant application and authorize the mayor to sign as the sole signatory any and all necessary documents required pertaining to the consolidated funding application for the proposed parking garage project.
Resolution sponsored by Alderman Green, seconded by Alderman Kleiner. Any discussion? Roll.
Ram Kasoon.
Aye.
Tobin.
Aye.
Kleiner.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
John Francois.
Aye.
Green.
Aye.
Massey.
Aye.
President Rodriguez.
Aye.
Resolution passes. Resolution sponsored by Alderman Massey to approve an emergency repair to the gate at the wastewater treatment plant from a truck hitting the gate and creating an unsafe environment.
Resolution sponsored by Alderman Massey, seconded by Alderman Tobin. Any discussion? Roll.
Ram Kasoon.
Aye.
Tobin.
Aye.
Kleiner.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
John Francois.
Aye.
Green.
Aye.
Massey.
Aye.
President Rodriguez.
Aye.
Resolution passes. Resolution sponsored by Alderman John Francois, authorizing the implementation and funding for the first instance of the state multi-model program aid and state-administered federal program aid eligible cost of the culvert repair project 1,000 feet northwest of Dolsontown Road and appropriating funds for the project.
Resolution sponsored by Alderman John Francois, seconded by Alderman Massey. Any discussion? Roll.
Ram Kasoon.
Aye.
Tobin.
Aye.
Kleiner.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
John Francois.
Aye.
Green.
Aye.
Massey.
Aye.
President Rodriguez.
Aye.
Resolution passes. Resolution sponsored by Alderman Massey. Resolution authorizing the implementation and funding of the first instance of the state aid program eligible costs of the Heritage Trail Culvert Replacement Project and appropriating funds therefore.
Resolution sponsored by Alderman Massey, seconded by Alderman Kleiner. Any discussion? Roll.
Ram Kasoon.
Aye.
Tobin.
Aye.
Kleiner.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
John Francois.
Aye.
Green.
Aye.
Massey.
Aye.
President Rodriguez.
Aye.
Resolution passes. Resolution sponsored by Alderman Green to approve Fusco Engineering to assist in the CFA documentation for the proposed parking garage in the amount of $10,000.
Resolution sponsored by Alderman Green, seconded by Alderman Rankin-Sum. Any discussion? Roll.
Ram Kasoon.
Aye.
Tobin.
Aye.
Kleiner.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
John Francois.
Aye.
Green.
Aye.
Massey.
Aye.
President Rodriguez.
Aye.
Resolution passes. Resolution sponsored by Alderman Tobin to approve the City of Middletown Fire Department's updated general orders to be effective immediately and supersede all other orders previously.
Resolution sponsored by Alderman Tobin, seconded by Alderman Green. Any discussion? Roll.
Ram Kasoon.
Aye.
Tobin.
Aye.
Kleiner.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
John Francois.
Aye.
Green.
Aye.
Massey.
Aye.
President Rodriguez.
Aye.
Resolution passes. Resolution sponsored by Alderman Kleiner to support the approval of A 6751 and S 5438 by the New York State Assembly and Senate regarding the proposed legislation that would limit the applicability of plumbing and drainage provisions to the city of Middletown.
Resolution sponsored by Alderman Kleiner, seconded by Alderman John Francois. Any discussion? Roll.
Ram Kasoon.
Aye.
Tobin.
Aye.
Kleiner.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
John Francois.
Aye.
Green.
Aye.
Massey.
Aye.
President Rodriguez. Resolution passes. Resolution sponsored by Alderman Green to approve the purchase of a pickup truck that is no longer repairable for the bid and transfer monies to fund the purchase.
Can I take that off? I don't want Alderman Green sponsoring. Do we have a motion to sponsor?
I'll sponsor it.
Alderman Massey. Second, Alderman Consoom.
Sorry about that.
No, it's all good. It's good.
Well, who seconded it? I'm sorry.
Massey.
Massey.
Discussion.
Yeah, I will be abstaining from this vote. I do work for the parent company of the company awarded the bid, so thank you.
Duly noted. Anyone else? Roll.
Ram Kazoon.
Aye.
Tobin.
Aye.
Kleiner.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
John Francois.
Aye.
Green.
Abstain.
Alderman Massey.
Aye.
President Rodriguez.
Aye.
Resolution passes. That is all for new business.
Audit.
Mr. President, I move the accounts be audited, the claims be adjusted, and the city treasurer be authorized to issue warrants for their payment.
Resolution sponsored by Alderman Massey, second by Alderman Johnson. Roll.
Ram Kazoon.
Aye.
Tobin.
Aye.
Kleiner.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
John Francois.
Aye.
Green.
Aye.
Massey.
Aye.
President Rodriguez.
Aye.
Resolution passes.
Alderman Johnson.
Mr. President, I move that the council go into executive session for the purpose of discussing contract negotiations.
Motion by Alderman
Johnson.
Johnson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Alderman Green. All in favor?
Aye.
Now in executive session.